Hey there, everybody. New studio, new intro. I'm just here to remind you guys before you listen to today's episode, make sure you follow the show and subscribe wherever you listen. If you watch the show on YouTube, make sure you subscribe there, you comment, you like, and you share. Also, follow my social media, all of it, both Instagrams, my Twitter, follow it all. Your life is to be consumed by my life. Tell everybody that you know about me. Start conversations with the fact that the Smoking Simian is your favorite podcast. Bombard everyone that you know and love with the Smoking Simian. Send them links day in and day out of my show, of the episodes, of my posts. Get thrown out of your house because the only thing that you care about is the Smoking Simian. Do it. Enjoy today's episode. Bye-bye. When the Kentucky Derby rolls around, I am a happy fucking guy. I am happy, and I don't know why. I have no clue. I have no reason to ever care about horse racing. Ever, at all. You guys know I love bitching about it. I'm wearing my, look at this, 148 years of the Kentucky Derby. 148 years of old hillbillies getting absolutely overrun by this country's elite in a very romantic South venue that is the Churchill Downs racetrack. And everybody wears their finest but stupidest looking outfits with the checkered beige suits and the flowery hats for the women. And the men, too. The men wear the crazy hats as well. I love every minute of it. I'm not even being cynical here. I mean, I'm definitely fucking around making fun of the event. But something about the Kentucky Derby, it's on my bucket list. I want to go. I want to go to the Kentucky Derby, and I want to put 10 grand on a random fucking horse. I want to put 10 grand on the horse that has the worst odds, because that's what happened this past weekend. This past weekend, a horse with zero odds. 80 to, what was it, 84 to 1, 80 to 1. This horse had no chance to win. No chance, this horse. And he came in, and he took it. He took it right from under Epicenter's nose. Epicenter was the favorite. He was winning right on the home stretch on that final, whatever that is. They call it something. Who cares? It's all nonsense hillbilly talk anyway. But that final bit, that final push, Epicenter was right in the front, and then out of nowhere, Rich Strike pulls up 80 to 1, ruins everybody's bets. Ruins it. Absolutely ruins it. I put money on Epicenter. Thought I was going to win a little something. Didn't win shit. I didn't get a goddamn thing. And I think that's why I like watching it. I like watching it because I can get stressed out for 2 minutes over really nothing, right? I love the intro to the Kentucky Derby was great, because it's an all-day thing, but there's the one race that everybody cares about in the Churchill Downs. It's the Derby. It's that whatever race, whatever number. It's probably the last one, right? Because then everybody leaves. It's the big deal. And on the introduction, they were so blatant. Like, they were saying, I wish I could pull it up because of how funny it was. It was just like, if this event doesn't do anything to you emotionally, there's something wrong. It was as blatant as that. Like, I wish, maybe you can look it up, find the NBC 2022 Kentucky Derby intro. Maybe you can look it up yourself, because I'm telling you, it's worth it. It's worth it, because there's parts where they talk about the horses. These horses have traveled all over the world racing, and does the horse know it's racing? Or does it know that it's getting slapped in the fucking ass by some little fucking Hispanic guy sitting on his back, 90 pounds, that if the horse really wanted to could turn on and stomp into fucking mush, right? That would totally happen if we lived in a different time, right? A bunch of little fucking guys in the back of these big, strong horses before people learned how to race them, right? I don't know when that was, but either way, they talk about it like the horses are the athletes, which I get it. They're running, right? But they're saying it like it's some opportunity that the horse is getting. Not that there's some rich oligarchical fucking type guy that it just owns a camp, owns a horse, and has all the money in the world to throw at this fucking horse so that maybe it could win a 2-minute race, and they can reap all the benefits. Because the winner got what? 1 point something million? Rich Strike, that whole camp got 1 point something million. So, I mean, that's pretty goddamn good. That's pretty goddamn good if you got the money to throw at it. And think about how specific you have to get with the jockeys. Not anybody can be a jockey. It's just, I mean, it's like the exact opposite of basketball or football. Like, to be a professional football player, you need to have some genetic gifts. Aside from how fast you are and how strong you are, you kind of need to have a certain build. You need to be big, you need to be tall, you need to be broad. Not for every position, but you need to be big. You're not going to be 5'10" and have a ton of success. They're there, but they're few and far between. Same thing in the NFL. And the NBA, I mean. Even more so. Height is a major factor. Height and size. There's some sports you need a certain size. Which is why fighting is so cool, because you can be a certain size, but cut down to a smaller size, and then you can fuck up all the small guys, which is nice. But being a jockey for horse racing is literally the opposite. You have to be a small fucking guy. You have to be, 100 pounds, short, and because, you can't have a lineman in the back of, you can't have Vince Wilfork riding on the back of, Zozos or whoever the fuck, one of these horses. The names are great. Some of the names, they have like racist undertones, right? Some of the names are just fucked up. White Power is coming around the bend while the Black Panther is taking a beating on the inside, and, it's just, there's some of that shit, The Klansman is running very well today, and wow. But I can see why these gray old men just sit there all day and stress over animals running in a circle. I can see it. Because when you're... first of all, the bets are these guys play with, little bits of dollars, or they play with monstrous amounts. And they just sit there and they watch these animals run in a circle, and they're watching it, and they're like, wow, this reminds me a lot of my life. It reminds me of when I was a kid, and I decided I was going to do something, and that didn't work out. And I looped the track right back into my old destructive self. And now I'm here, I'm 78 years old, and I'm pissing away my Social Security check at a casino, complaining the entire time that I'm betting money, but things aren't free. I'm betting $50. I have $50 to play with because that's all my keeper allows me to use. That's all my guardian allows me to use after she drops me off. She'll be back in a couple hours. She knows I like to sit here and complain and drink a hot black coffee and throw the attendants $1. She knows I like doing that, but it's a real great analogy for my life in particular, because I'm an old guy who just kept circling back. Just kept circling back like a horse on a track. Had no clue where he was going to end up. Never really followed through on anything. And I don't have a family. I don't really have a family, so what am I going to do, right? I might as well be here. And right now, as I'm filming this, or as I'm recording this, it's Mother's Day. And which is the day after the Derby. And as you all know, I work in the casino and the sports book and the horse racing book and whatever. And those old guys, believe you me, those old guys were at the race book sitting there with their glasses and their lamps and their pieces of paper strewn all over the table, their angry faces, their Vietnam veteran caps, and they were sitting there because you knew for sure that definitely they didn't have moms because they're all fucking old. The mom's probably fucking dead. They probably didn't have a great relationship with their daughters if they got them, right? Their daughters or any of the female, the younger women in their family who are probably mothers. They don't want to engage in any of that. right? You know that they weren't around when the daughter was young, when the daughter was 16 and asked dad to help her out with something. Can I borrow the car? Can I, whatever. Dad was probably betting in some other way, probably being a degenerate in some other way. And now it's, again, full circle, right back to it. I don't drink anymore. I can't. I don't do drugs anymore, but I sit here and I bet and I complain. And it's nice, And the Kentucky Derby is one of those events where it allows people to care about something that there's really no need to care about, or they would otherwise not care about. People will go ahead and put every dime they have on a horse on the Kentucky Derby. And throughout the whole rest of the year, if you could ask them, you ever seen a horse? They'd be like, fuck no. Any other point in the year, they would say horses should be turned to glue, which is what they should be. No, horses are beautiful. They're dumb. They're dumb as fuck. I mean, they'll run until they die, right? They'll just run until they fucking die. They're good because they're the athletes of the animals, right? They are the athletes of the animals. Because you guys know I like to shit on athletes because it's fun. I don't care. Sue me. I don't give a fuck. Athletes, they probably went to college, but they probably had a lot of help to get through. And, you know my whole spiel on this. But they were born physically gifted, just like a horse. A horse will start walking shortly after it's born, like a few hours after it's born. I mean, that's I'm sure a lot of animals do that, but a horse is literally just an animal for everyone to say is beautiful and majestic, but no one has ever seen one up close. Very few people have gotten on the backs of them. It's just a thing to talk about. So when the Kentucky Derby rolls around, everybody sits down for the whole day. They get hammered. They drink mint juleps and Kendall Jackson Chardonnay and that type of thing. And they get all decked out, and they watch people from all over the fucking country. People like who would have nothing to do, some guy from the Bronx. Oh, we're going to the Derby. Let's go to the Derby. I got this beautiful cream-colored fedora. I'm going to get hard, take off my pants, and stand over their heads with my fedora over my cock. That's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to put $2,000 on your sister's asshole. She's the number 6 horse. Wow. Or he. I don't know. I heard that there's women horses and there's men horse races. I wonder if the women horses complain that they don't get paid enough. I wonder if there's a discrepancy in pay there with the athletes. Do you think people tune in to watch the women horses? If there was a Kentucky Derby for women horses, would people tune into it? I don't know. Is there as much money bet on the women horses? Maybe there's more. Maybe it's completely flipped and the women and the horse community has it right, or they have it more proportionate. There's true equality. But the Kentucky Derby, that's one of America's great events because it encompasses everything that we love. Booze, spending money, and caring about shit that we otherwise wouldn't care about for one day in particular. Right? That's why the World Cup is tough. World Cup, you kind of need to have a little bit of ethnicity to you. There's very little people in America that are rooting for the United States to win the World Cup. However, people do watch the World Cup in this country because of their ethnicity, right? I'm Portuguese and Italian. The Italians have won before. I was alive when it happened, right? I was a child, so that's cool. Portuguese, they're obviously known for soccer. Cristiano Ronaldo, they've never won the World Cup. But I'm also one of the people who want to know what's going on between those two countries. Are they doing well? Who are they playing? Whatever. Are they still in? It's another one of those events that it gives us all a reason to care about some shit we don't care about. It's just like on the news, right? That's the news's blueprint. Give us some shit to care about for a very short period of time, and then eventually it'll phase out from something else. Right? Another one that's coming up, another big American event. Now, I know I said the World Cup, and that's not just American, right? That's the whole world. But you can loop the Super Bowl in there. You can loop any big sporting event. I mean, the Stanley Cup. People who don't watch hockey, they watch that shit. The World Series. Sporting events are great about that thing. But another big one that's very niche, another niche sport that normally people would not pay attention to until this event, is the Indy 500. That's happening soon. End of May, I think May 26th or something, is the Indy 500. And I don't care about Formula One racing, especially not a fucking 500 lap race. I mean, Jesus Christ, it's cool, right? It sounds cool, but I mean, who's going to sit there and watch the whole thing? At least the Derby, you can, kind of hang out. You can drink. It's kind of a lax hillbilly fucking vibe. It's different, right? And then the event itself, the actual race, the race that everyone wants to watch, is 2 minutes. 2 minutes of freaking out like a fucking animal, and then bang, it's over. Now the Indy 500, good God, 500 laps. It's cool. It's very cool. But who gives a fuck in reality? That being said, I'm excited for it. I'm excited for the Indy 500 because it is, again, another event that is marketed so well. Marketed so goddamn well. I mean, there's certain, I don't know if there's a drink or if there's something that the Indy 500 is meant for. Is it the milk, right? Don't they drink milk at the end of the Indy 500? They throw the milk around. Or is that the guy that won last year? I don't know. Doesn't matter. The thing is sometimes there's a great brand. The marketing is perfect with some of these events, right? Like the Kentucky Derby, the Woodford Reserve, drinking that bourbon. It's good bourbon. Good whiskey. Very good. But it's just perfect because that's what people are doing all day. They're drinking the mint juleps with the crushed ice and the mint, and they pretend like they don't have 2 children at home that they barely like most of the time, and the only time they like them is when they're quiet or when they do something that they something that warrants their love, right? Oh, good job in school, Tommy. Here's a sandwich, we're gonna go get McDonald's tonight because you got an A+ in math. Whoop-de-fucking-do, Any other time than that, they wish they were at the Kentucky Derby getting fucked up with their friends like they used to when they were young, and that's what they look forward to every year. But marketing, I mean, it is perfect. Sometimes there are just some things that are just on brand. They're just on brand. And it's crazy that we in America, we advertise pharmaceuticals. One of the few countries in the world that advertises pharmaceuticals. Pretty nuts, right? You can watch a commercial. I mean, all we do is advertise. All we are sold things all day. You guys know that. But it's funny that you can watch a commercial for, a gym membership, right? Go to Planet Fitness or Workout World or some other one of these fucking corporate buildings meant to just squeeze money out of you without getting any results. Right after that, though, right, going to the gym, we can all agree, is a positive step. It is a good step especially for someone starting at ground zero. It is a positive step in their life. And then right after that, it's like, are you depressed? Don't go to that gym. Don't you dare go to that gym. You might actually be cured. Instead, what is it? You don't have motivation. You got this, you got that. Here, take this. Take this. And, here are all the side effects. You ever hear a pill for someone who's got mental health? It's like, for depression or some mental health issue, and one of the side effects is increased thoughts of suicide. I mean, my goodness, that is could it get? That's like getting. I don't even know, that kind of marketing. They have to do it legally, right? They got to say that, hey, here are the side effects. You might want to kill yourself a little bit more. That's like saying, it's seeing a McDonald's commercial and it's like, all right, this Big Mac could cause you, the side effects could be, you might lose weight, right? It's the exact opposite of the fucking thing. It's not what you're looking for. People who eat McDonald's aren't looking for something to help them lose weight. I'm sure people who go to McDonald's and order, 6 cheeseburgers and 2 orders of fries and a chocolate shake aren't looking to maintain ketosis. That's not what they're looking for. Just like when people are looking for a pill to help their depression, the idea that it could cause increased suicidal thoughts more than they already have, I don't know. Maybe they should just leave that part out. Wouldn't that be cool if they just left that part out and people they take the pill and there's no explanation as to why they want to kill themselves even more? No explanation. The doctors just don't. The FDA says, fuck it. We don't need to tell them the side effects anymore. Let them figure it out for themselves. People would still get it. People would still buy that shit because it's easier. Anyway, I read a fun little article. Get this, guys. Very close to home. Let me see if I can find it. I obviously live in New England. I live in Connecticut right now, but I'm from Rhode Island. I spent a lot of time in Boston for comedy. I haven't in a while, but I was. And now this is interesting, right? This is another argument about free speech, one that I am very happy with the ruling, and I hope that the Church of Satan, the Satanic Temple in Boston, gets what it wants. A Satanic Temple has asked Boston to fly its flag over City Hall. Until October, Boston allowed private organizations using the nearby plaza to fly their flags above the hall. It denied a Christian organization the right to do so, which sparked a Supreme Court case. On Monday, the court deemed Boston's decision a free speech violation in a 9-0 ruling. The Satanic Temple has now asked to fly its flag for Satanic Appreciation Week, which runs from July 23rd to 29. The city is considering how to proceed. I mean, it's a no-brainer how to proceed. What should happen next is at City Hall, they get the biggest Satan flag they can, and then all of the town's representatives should come out and sit around a massive pentagram. Lots of candles at nighttime. Plenty of candles. Get a satanic shaman to start speaking in tongues after he's taken 6 tabs of mescaline, and they should all give up their souls to Lord Satan. I don't understand what more time the city of Boston needs. What is that city even made of, if not satanic mongrels, satanic animals that care nothing unless it is about yelling at people, cold weather, fishing, or sports. That's it. If you talk to anyone in Boston, it's either they're angry, or they're screaming, they talk about the weather, they talk about fish and fishing, or sports, the sports. So, I mean, why not allow Satan to open a large death portal into a dimension where all the humans in the area will get sucked into and be used as Satan's personal jerk-off apparatuses? Because Satan is probably huge. His cock has got to be the size of TD Banknorth the long way. So he's going to be fucking people hard, and he could probably make it. I'm sure there's interdimensional beings that are the size of Satan that he could put his full cock into, but since he is the Dark Lord, I'm sure he could thin it out and put it through people's bodies completely, from just ass to mouth or pussy right out the mouth, and he could just stack guys on there like a shish kebab, and then jerk off with them, and then roast them over an open fire, pull them right off and feed them to his hellhounds, and then grab the next group. And he could do like 15, 16 at a time, probably more. I mean, he's Satan. I can't see where the hesitation is. I can't see why the city of Boston, a city that had more per capita priest sexual assault trials, right? Wasn't there a movie? I got to find the movie. Because again, I love speaking out of term, but movie about priests in Boston. Spotlight. American fact-based dramatic film released in 2015 that won 2 Academy Awards, including that for Best Picture. The movie chronicles the efforts of a team of Boston Globe journalists to bring to light the sexual abuse of children by Roman Catholic priests in Boston. Interesting. And they don't want a Satan flag above City Hall. There's no satanic things going on in City Hall, right? They're not cutting funding to to impoverished communities, right? They're not doing that. They're not, maybe not right now, but later on down the line, they're not one of the places who are considering getting rid of Plan B medication, which, by the way, is something that is happening, right? Plan B in some states is being deemed as illegal. You can get a big fine in some of these states. Tennessee, Missouri, Louisiana is going to move to do it. Plan B is officially one of the cool drugs. Welcome to the club, Plan B. You must be pretty fucking cool to become illegal, because all the illegal drugs are the cool ones. They're all the ones that worked, right? They are all the ones that worked well and did what it said on the package. Plan B must have done the right thing to have gotten to be deemed illegal. I can't help but think every situation is based on money when it comes to drugs being demonized or certain substances being deemed unfit for society or any of that shit. I can't help but think that there would be some kind of monetary repercussion that the certain companies, big, powerful companies, ones that can overturn Supreme Court cases or influence the overturning of Supreme Court cases, I have to imagine that the illegalization, if that is a word, of certain drugs has to come from that, right? I would think so. I'm sure that there are some FDA drugs out there that are taken off because they're doing certain things to certain people. They're causing more suicidal thoughts, right? Wait a second. They don't take those off the market. They don't take the ones that make you want to kill yourself off the market. God, no, they don't do that. Those, you hear about those all the time. Right? All the time. Anytime there's not a new one. Anytime there's an ad on TV for a fucking pharmaceutical, they say increased thoughts of suicide may occur. And if they do, please stop. Every single one says that shit. Even shit that has nothing to do with suicide. Do the bottoms of your feet get cold when you wear shoes? Take this pill, but you may want to kill yourself if you take it. Sorry guys, I'm hiccuping. I had a delicious Mother's Day meal. I guess it was delicious. I don't know. This New London area is fucking. They don't know how to eat. They don't know how to eat. They don't know how to restaurateur. I mean, I guess I was spoiled in a state like Rhode Island and Providence, where it's food is a big money draw out there. So there's a big infrastructure for it. But anyway, I mean, Boston. I'm sure there are plenty of Satan worshipers in the city of Boston. I'm sure there's more than people think, guys. And if I was one of them, I would be outraged that there's even any bit of hesitation on the city's part to let us fly our flag just like anyone else can, right? It said that they denied a Christian organization the right to do so, which sparked a Supreme Court case. So, okay, they're believing in one guy, these other people are believing in another guy. You guys lost a Supreme Court case very decisively, 9-0. Nobody agreed with the city of Boston when they said, hey, Christians, y'all can't put this shit up here. Y'all can't do it, even though we're all Irish Catholics in this fucking, this concentrated pool of fucking, I don't know, angry blue-collar white people. They got in trouble for that. Nobody was on their side in the Supreme Court when it came to that. But now these other people believe in some other guy. Some other guy that has gotten a bad rap, right? Okay, he's the Dark Lord. He's responsible for all the plight and the bad in the world. If you believe that kind of thing. If you believe that there's an interdimensional being that is responsible for everything that's good, then you probably believe that there's also one that is responsible for everything that's bad. You should also know that there are people who believe in both of those things in different ways. Now, it's probably a little tougher to wrap your head around the people who believe in the one, in the being that is responsible for, bone cancer in children, or premature death of any kind, terrible circumstances, or terrible happenings in the world, wars and viruses and all this shit. Sure, it's tougher to believe that there's people out there who are actually like that guy, but they exist, right? They exist. And Boston, being the hyper-progressive city that it is, should allow the Satanic Temple, who is a private organization, guys, a private organization, that City Hall wrote a check that their ass is afraid to cash, guys. That's afraid to cash. You mean to tell me that if a big seance at midnight in the Boston Common were to happen, people wouldn't show up? Those freaks at Berkeley College wouldn't show up? Come on. Boston College, we know some of them. We know it's a Christian college there, but some of those kids are angsty. They're there only because they got, they're smart, they come from a good place. Some of them kids want to stick it to the man by summoning the great Dark Lord Satan. That's what they want to do. Drink each other's blood in the moonlight. They would love that. You mean to tell me that wouldn't bring tourists in? They should do a thing, right? July 23rd to the 29th, summertime Satan Fest in the Boston Common. Come on down and taste each other's blood and get pentagrams painted on the back of your bald head. Join us at 3 a.m. for our citywide seance, where we will try our best to summon the great Lord Satan so he could appear from the earth and grace us with his beautiful fucking existence and take us away with him to the ever-promising land of hell, to where he'll use us for jerk-off apparatuses and throw us into the flames, feed us to his dogs, and every day we'll wake up and we'll get to do that. Come on, make sure you get your wristbands. Get your wristbands early. We're going to have phenomenal performances by Megadeth and Slayer. They will be there to play as loud as they can, playing the Dark Lord, saying his name in the city of Boston. You know how many people? Travis Scott would go. I think they could book Travis Scott. There's plenty of Machine Gun Kelly and his lady. They drink each other's blood. They do weird shit like that. Anybody, any of the... But here's the thing. I think they're scared of the publicity it'll bring. I think they will have far too many public officials that would be interested in this event. Very high-ranking public officials in Congress and Senate, they may be drawn to this. And I think Boston might not want that kind of heat. They might be all for having a big Satan fest, but I don't know if they want everything that comes with, the members of Congress coming and taking part in it. Because as you know, I mean, there's probably some in there that are looking for an opportunity to meet their savior. And if you wave that under their nose in the great city of Boston, they're going to go, man. They're going to go. But ultimately, I think that the city of Boston is making a huge mistake by not acting on this soon. Just wait till the Satanic Temple leaves and finds a better place to spread their message, and they will bring in tourism and commerce and all these great things off of a phenomenal Satan fest. Now, I do love that this was I love that this case is one based on freedom of speech. I do love that. I love that because I'm, for one, a person who believes anybody should be able to say anything at any time. They can do whatever the fuck they want, unless the Supreme Court deems it wrong, because they are the all-powering, all-knowing, wise owls of our society. They know which things are allowed to be part of free speech. But ultimately, this is a case of free speech. Can these people who hold some beliefs that are a little strange to the rest of us, a little out of the ordinary to the rest of us, are they allowed to go ahead and do whatever the fuck they want? Can they do this? Can they put their flag above the main government building of a very well-established, a very well-known city in Boston, one of the most well-known cities in the country, known from the history books and all the founding fathers, and the fact that it's one of the major cities here on the East Coast. I mean, New York, Boston, Miami, we're talking about the whole East Coast. D.C., these places are important. Philadelphia, these places are important, especially in history, especially in American history. So I think that it would only be doing the city justice, as well as the amendment for free speech, the very first amendment. It would only do them justice if they allowed everybody to put up Satan flags anywhere the fuck they want, especially in front of the main government building of the great city of Boston. Freedom of speech, something very hot in today's, I guess it's always been, right? But very much so now with all the tech companies. We have a great episode coming on Thursday, one that, amidst all of the, I guess, technical errors I made, putting that episode together. It is a very good conversation between me and a very well thought out expert whose name I will not mention right now because I want it to be a fucking surprise. But it is a great episode regarding freedom of speech and that whole thing. But as we all know, Twitter, bought by Elon Musk, I found a phenomenal Twitter account the other day, guys. Go ahead and give him a follow. This is a great Twitter account. It is called, I wrote it down, it's called Jesse Pinkman Getting High. That's the name of it. That's the name of the Twitter account, Jesse Pinkman Getting High. Now, I never watched Breaking Bad, but I know that it's all about meth. These guys sell meth. Jesse Pinkman does heroin. He's a fucking drug addict. He probably does meth too. But in this particular, this particular Twitter page, took a GIF, took a scene. Maybe it's the first time Jesse Pinkman gets high, and now he's in love with heroin. But it's the scene where he does the drug, and things zoom out, and he's high. He's getting high. This is the whole thing. The whole thing, and it's not a GIF. It's a section of the movie. It's a clip from the show, and he puts songs over it, different kinds of songs, trippy songs. Moon by Kanye and whoever the fuck else. It's just these songs that are meant to work aesthetically with this scene of a young man doing heroin. And I think that's what Elon Musk I think that's what he's fighting for. I think he's done the right thing so that now we can follow these pages. Now we have a page that tells us, that would give us the aesthetic if we wanted to do heroin. Because that's what life's all about, right? We want aesthetics when we do things. We want what we do to look good, to feel good. That's why we pick certain songs when we make videos on Instagram or YouTube. Here's a trip that we went on, and they got little videos, and it's certain songs because the aesthetic sounds good. I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere. Some guy hiking, riding a bike, fucking a cow, whatever. There's a reason why we pick certain songs to make our little social media videos, especially the people that are in media and are looking to have a media career. There's something to a well-made video with a song that is picked well or a song that is paired well with that video. And this guy has it figured out. He's made a playlist. This person has made a playlist on Spotify. I think it's called Getting High with Jesse. That's the name of the Spotify playlist. So check that out, it is a phenomenal playlist, guys. As a guy who likes to smoke weed, never done heroin, I can imagine it's pretty similar. I can imagine weed and heroin pretty close, right? That's what they tell you in health class. Start smoking weed, you'll do heroin. Watch out. We had Chris Herron, a Fall River native, another New Englander, come in and speak to us in high school, and he was there to tell us about how he did heroin and Oxycontins and fell asleep while he was supposed to be playing for the Celtics, or he would go out and do heroin at halftime and play better than he did, and he's high on heroin. That's a beast right there. Aren't you supposed to be here to tell us that this stuff is bad for us? You're out here promoting heroin like it's a PED. You had a great time. You were throwing, you were hanging 40 points in the second half of a Celtics game after doing oxys in your car and falling asleep for 20 minutes. Your whole team is in the locker room game planning, drinking Gatorade, resting, figuring out what they want to do, how they're going to break down the team. You went out to your car and took 3 fucking Oxycontins, came back like you just did, like you just did what they give Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar for speed. Or Brock Lesnar for size. You came in and you're just bumping motherfuckers now. Taking it to the hole, drawing fouls. You're on fire. But you're on oxys. You're on that synthetic heroin. You the night before you fell asleep in a liquor store parking lot, and your seat caught fire because you got one of those old Honda Civics with the shag, with the kind of like the fluffy material on the seats, and you dropped a cigarette on it, and it woke you. You felt the heat, and it woke you up, but it wasn't that. You were still kind of on heroin, so you weren't that concerned. You put it out, and then you were good. You drove home, and you were fine. And then the next day, you played on national television with your hometown team, and you did very well. How are you telling us that this is bad? How are you going to convey the message that doing heroin and Oxycontins is a bad thing? How are you going to do this? Don't you see how awesome this Jesse Pinkman video is of him doing heroin and this phenomenal Travis Scott song playing in the background? Isn't that the sound you want to hear? When I listen to Led Zeppelin, a band known for heroin use, I can feel the heroin going through my veins. I can. I listen to them, and it's, junk, chicka, junk, chicka, junk, chicka, pow, pow. You need cooling. Maybe I'm not fooling. Do heroin if you can afford it. If you're the biggest band in the world, just shoot up. Get real skinny. You want a whole lot of heroin? Whole lot of heroin. That's how I feel. I feel like doing heroin when I listen to Robert Plant and Jimmy Page and John Bonham and whoever the guy who played the bass was. When I listen to those guys, I want to do heroin. There's a part of me that says, wow, I want to get a spoon, cook up some brown shit till it turns into this bubbling sludge, and suck it up into a syringe, pop a vein out of my arm, and mainline that shit. Mainline it. And let it take over my life, because Led Zeppelin sounds cool. Led Zeppelin sounds cool. The Getting High with Jesse playlist is awesome. And Chris Herron told us that you can be a phenomenal professional basketball player, make a great living, but still do heroin. And that's, that might be the moral of today. Aside from allowing Satan to use Boston as his own personal entryway into our realm that we think is reality. Aside from that, heroin is good for you is the next thing I want you guys to take from this show. It's good for you if it works aesthetically, right? It's not good if you got a job and you got a family and you got responsibilities, but if you're a cool motherfucker that everyone goes, wow, that guy's pretty cool. He plays, if you're in a band, if you're in an art, if you're in some kind of art, right? Jean-Michel Basquiat, a painter, died from heroin before he was even 30, if I'm remembering correctly. I mean, it just gets better and better. If you are cool as fuck, doing heroin is not as bad as everyone says. That's what I'm trying to get at here. It's not as bad as everybody fucking says. Now, enough of that fun stuff. What's this coming on my phone? Whatever. I had a fun week last week doing comedy. I had a good time. Doing the shit gigs. Doing the shit gigs is, it's a part of this game. And I thought open mics were the shit gigs. I guess I should say I thought bad open mics were the shit gigs. And then from there, all I've done are shows at comedy clubs. And if I didn't do well, it wasn't because the gig was shitty. It was because I was shitty or, whatever. But I've really only been doing, shows in comedy clubs. I've been going to Stand Up New York, making my rounds there. Comedy Connection, Comics Roadhouse, not my best performance there, but still, it's a fucking cool-ass comedy club. All the shows I've been on have been pretty cool ones. Not saying that these other ones that I'm getting ready to talk about weren't cool. They were fun. You learn a lot. I met some great fucking people. But we, as far as venue and circumstances go, I did 2 shows last week. One I did at a dive bar in Riverside, Rhode Island, which is just a neighborhood in East Providence. And it was a small little bar, and some of the people half of the people were paying attention because they were facing the stage, and the other half couldn't have cared less. They were just guys that got off their job, and they just, they wanted to sit there and drink 6 pitchers of beer. It was on Cinco de Mayo. Drink 6 pitchers of beer and maybe take home a big fat quesadilla eating, fucking Maria that they could shove their meat fucking sausage into. And that's what they were there for. They didn't want to hear us do comedy. And the place, again, I want to thank Bo for having me on. It was a lot of fun. It's part of the gig, right? It's part of the gig going forward, especially as a promoter. Where he stands, and he put the whole thing together, and it was great. And I guess you can call it my first bit of paid work, where I didn't have to get paid off bringers. And that was, it was fun. It was a small little bar. All my friends came. I was first. I opened up the show. I did my thing. I didn't think I did great, right? I don't think I did great. I think I did all right, And not every night is going to be great. Not every night is going to be good, but. I did 5 minutes there. I sat around for the rest of the show, and then I dipped, and I went to go do an open mic on Federal Hill because and it was late. It was a late thing. I had an hour drive home, but I was like, fuck it. I need to get another set in because, as you guys know, last week I was being a little bit of a pussy. On Monday, I didn't go do a show. Tuesday, I went all the way to New Haven. The motherfucker was closed. The place was doing an inspection. The restaurant was doing an inspection. I spent money to go out there. I was kind of I was kind of upset. But nonetheless, I went ahead and went to Jake and Johnny's, and I was the second to last person on the thing. I went up there. I forgot my fucking jokes. My mind was all over the fucking place. It had been close to 2 weeks without smoking any weed, which is pretty fucking crazy for me, right? And I was starting to overcome how bad it was affecting me, but once I got a little weed in my system, I started to feel a lot better. I really did naturally. Well, not naturally because I'm using something, but you know what I'm saying, guys. It did help. It did help, and I'm a big proponent of weed. I have no problem with anyone that has a dependency on it. I'd rather you have a dependency on weed than on something else that'll kill you or make you hurt someone else or yourself or whatever. And weed doesn't do that. Weed, sure, maybe it makes you lazy for some people, but at least it doesn't make you want to doesn't give you extra thoughts of suicide. Sometimes it does. If you take the right shit, you take 700 milligrams on the Lord's Day, then it might, you might want to kill yourself. But nonetheless, I got some weed. Shout out James. James. Not the James that was on this show. No, definitely not him. Another friend of mine. He gifted me some. He actually gifted me some, which was great. So shout out him. And it was the reason why I wanted to go back up on stage was because so I did the show last Thursday, and so Cinco de Mayo, and then the day after that, I had another show that was run by Think Floyd, and Think Floyd is J.B. Smooth's brother. So it was a great opportunity to meet him and do his show. But the flyer said 8 p.m. Now, mind you, hold on. Let me backtrack here. This is a great comedy moment. I'm very thankful for it. And if I was some self-important prick who was like, no, I'm not going to go do this gig. This sounds like shit. Then I wouldn't have gotten the result that I gotten, which was a positive one. So like I said, I had been stressed out. I wasn't making much money. And the fact that I wasn't smoking any weed was amplifying it. So I needed to get some more stage time in because I was under the impression that I was going to do 15 minutes at this show. Now, here's where it gets fun. I get out of work, I eat, and I get dressed, and I head right to West Haven. I smoke on the way, and the whole time, the entire hour, I'm going over my jokes, I'm going over my set list. I'm kind of overdoing it, ultimately. And I just want to be sure, because I've never done 15 minutes before. I'd never done 15 minutes before, and he said, you're going to get 15 minutes. Okay, cool. So I drive out there for an hour, and the whole time, I smoke a little bit of weed, and now I'm talking back and forth with myself. I'm psyching myself out. I'm getting myself out of the psych out. And it's me just figuring out my set. And I get there a little early. The flyer said 8. Floyd told me to get there for 8. I got there at like 7:15, maybe even earlier than that. And I just sat in my car because I didn't want to be the first fucking guy there. And 7:30 rolled around, and I went inside, and I asked the lady at the front desk, and this is at the Best Western in West Haven, right off of a highway, the Best Western Hotel. Phenomenal. And, but Floyd puts time into it. He puts time into marketing it, and he has all the equipment, and he, put a nice little stage together, turned the lights down, and it looks cool. So I get there, it's getting closer and closer to 8, and there's only a few comics there. We're all looking at each other like, what the fuck? What are we supposed to do? Floyd's not here. Shit's barely set up. We don't know what's going on. 8 o'clock rolls around, and then Floyd comes a little bit after 8. And the show starts maybe around 9:30 or something. And they they were going ahead and putting things together, and a bunch of other comics started coming in, but no audience members. No audience members. Remind you, rainy day. We're in the basement of a Best Western. I asked the lady where the room is for the show. She said it's in the basement. Go down there, take a left, and we're in the basement. We're legitimately in the basement of a Best Western in a little fucking room that they would use to. You could do a couple different things. You could make a snuff film in there. You could have a cult meeting, or you could have a big corporate office meeting. You know, a nice corporate meeting on the cheap. For there could be a table with some donuts and whatever else in there, and people talk. And there's no windows. Some guy can come up and give a boring presentation against the light yellow wallpaper and the generic pieces of art on the wall. Plenty of things you could do in there, and apparently you could put together a comedy show. Now, there were probably like 12 comics there. I was not doing 15 minutes. There was no shot I was going to do 15 minutes solely because of how many people were there. Turns out I ended up doing 7, something like that, 7. It was mostly comics, but there were these 4 people from Delaware passing through, staying at the Best Western, passing through, and going to Rhode Island. And there are comics going up there, and they're trying to do their best, working with these 4 people and the other comedians in the room, and they're trying to mess around with them and whatever else. And as the night's going on, I start getting more and more relaxed. And I say to myself, you know what? I'm going to go up there and I'm going to do some shit that has nothing to do with my material. This is the time to do it. There's nothing but comics. There are these 4 people here. This is, there might have been 20 people in the whole room. Maybe. That's like a max. And they weren't in the whole room at the same time. But anyway, I started to get looser and looser, loosen my inhibitions, and be like, you know what? This is just going to be fun. Who cares? I don't need to go up there and do my written act how I normally would. And it gave me kind of the leeway to go ahead and do some shit that I don't normally do. And I went up there and started riffing. I started making fun of stuff in the room. I talked about Delaware and how nobody gives a fuck about Delaware. And I still went and worked on some of my old jokes. Some old jokes, some new jokes, and I went ahead and got a very good response. And out of it, not only did I get to meet Think Floyd, who puts together shows all the time, and I'm sure I'll be on the next one. He also does a show on Wednesdays at the Stress Factory, which is a great club in Connecticut. And he said I can come whenever I want. But I also, the host, he puts on a couple shows a week, and he said he'd put me up. He said he thought I was funny and all this shit. So I was so stressed and so nervous. And the fact that it was just all comics in there, and we were in a basement on a rainy Friday, it's late. It's nothing but comics. There's these 4 people from Delaware, very nice people. They stayed for the whole show. It was free. They ate the free food. It was great. It really was great. And I'm very happy I went ahead and did it. I'm happy how it turned out because it kind of set me on a new level, on a new path in this game, and that is to realize that there are times to have fun. When I think I will find my next level of comfort on stage when I can do what I did that night in front of 4 people from Delaware that are just passing through and a bunch of comics. When I feel like I can do that to a crowd in New York or a crowd at a comedy club, that'll be a great next step for where I'm at. Because I've already found comfort on stage when I'm sticking to my act and I'm doing my thing, and I find a groove, and I get very comfortable. Now I think that next level of comfort is being able to riff and being able to work on different things on the spot. A little crowd work here and there. And that was a great little bit of training. It was like training wheels. It was great. It really was. And I'm very thankful for the experience. I can't wait for the next one. And it really reinforced my love for the game. It really has. And for once, we're going to end this episode on something nice. There you go. I had a great experience doing comedy in a basement at a Best Western on a Friday night in front of fucking nobody. I had a great time. I unlocked a new level in my game of being a funny fuck on a stage and talking to people. I found a new level of comfort, one that took a fucking long time to even... it took a very specific array of circumstances to even get to that point. So, thank you guys for listening today very much. The next episode this week on Thursday is we do have a guest, like I had mentioned before. The episode's a little wonky when it comes to technical stuff. I was exhausted. It was early for me. Early in the morning. Not super early, but based on how shitty I slept the night before and how late I got home and all this stuff, it was a tough episode for me to speak through. I think I found a groove later on. I don't want to hyper analyze it, but technically, when it comes to like tech stuff, I guess, electronic shit, whatever. I feel like a fucking old guy when I said the electronic stuff. It was very strange. No. Normally, I put my Zoom on my TV, which I didn't even think to do, so that fucked me all up. I'm not even looking at the camera, and I think when I filmed it, I got to look through it. I think when I filmed it, I didn't change the view in Zoom for it to be side by side. Instead, it's just my guest's face the whole time. So... I don't know. I'm probably going to say something about it at the beginning of that episode too, because some people don't get to the end of my episodes. But who gives a fuck anyway, guys? I'm coming with nothing but hard work. Hard work. Hard work, yeah. Who gives a fuck, guys? Dates. All right, we're going to Pump House on this Thursday. This Thursday coming, whatever fucking day it is, I can't see my calendar. I'm going to Pump House in North Kingston, South Kingston. I'm going to say North Kingston. That's the more popular one. Pump House, there's a open mic, and then there's a show after that. But the open mic is supposed to be a big one, I guess. And then Friday the 13th, so that would make the Pump House on the 12th. Friday the 13th, I will be in New York at Stand Up New York yet again. I try to bang out at least one of those shows a month, get me on a fast track to doing a show without having to get guests. But I'll be there for the 8 p.m. show, so it'll be the early show. And I think that's it, guys. Thank you all so much. Talk to you all Thursday. Peace. Hey, I'm back to reiterate all the stuff that I said at the top of the show. Follow and subscribe. Bye-bye.